Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here with the Splash Zone, here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks for today. We're talking today's NBA betting slate, Saturday. That would be October 26th is what day it is for today. So as for today, our picks that we have, we're going to have 4 bangers for you total, 3 of which are of the plus money banger variety. Not going to do any ladder plays today. I figured we might as well start cashing some main plays, and then we can start to ladder from there. So that's kind of why we're sticking just with main plays today. I do have to admit it's been a rough start to the NBA season. That continued yesterday, where we only got one of our 4 plays to cash, depending on including the ladder play or not. We did cash Damian Lillard 8+ assists. He should have had 10. He had 19 potential assists, but he only got to 8. So we lost the 10+ ladder, and then we lost Jalen Brunson points, we lost Maxey points, and we lost Steph Curry assists, down about 1.35 units yesterday. Obviously, that's very much not good. It's been a tough start to the season. As you can see, down over 3 units on the year so far. Down 3 units isn't terrible. It's just felt a lot worse because we've only had one day so far that's been profitable. Now, last season was the best season I've ever had betting in my entire life, up over 118 units on these NBA player props. And last season started slow as well. So as we get more data, these picks will get better. But that does not take away from the frustration of how this season has gone. I hate having just multiple stretches like this where we just cannot get anything to go. That's how the season has been. I'm ready to start getting on a hot streak. Hopefully that starts today. I appreciate the kind words and those of you who have been rocking with me through this cold streak to start. And let's get into it. So again, 4 plays today. Play number 1, I'm taking Luka Donic over 30.5 points, -102 odds at FanDuel. Now, part of the lack of success that I've had to start the season has been backing these superstars who have not played well. Granted, it's basically been Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Maxey who have had 2 bad games in a row. Other superstars have gone off, so it's not like it's only been the role players that have been playing well. I've just been on the wrong side of the superstars that I choose to go off. With that said, there are so many reasons to believe in a Luka Doncic blow-up game tonight. So I feel fine about backing another superstar to have a good game. Last game, Luka picked up where he left off in last year's playoffs, where his point total was fine. He just had an incredibly inefficient shooting game. He scored 28 points, which obviously would have hit the under for this one. But 28 points is not a terrible game overall, but he shot 9 of 25 from the field and 4 of 11 from deep. That was the same case in last year's playoffs. His shooting just took a tank, just tanked. He could not make anything. But I don't think that's going to continue the entire season. And it's only natural for him to shoot at a higher percentage just from positive regression. And as for the matchup, this is an amazing matchup for Luka. For starters, ever since that playoff series against the Suns a couple years ago, where the Devin Booker made fun of Luka for flopping, is what it was. Luka has just annihilated the Suns. He hates Devin Booker. He hates the Suns. This goes back multiple years. He just crushes them. Look at the last 8 games that Luka Doncic has played against the Suns. 33 points, 35, 35, 33, 34, 50, 34, and 41. That is every single game he has scored over the 30.5 number that we're taking. That is in, 2 of those games he hit 35, another one he hit 50, another one he hit 40. Just has blown up against the Suns. This would absolutely be worth a ladder play, but this early in the season, as I mentioned, I'm going to take it easy on the ladders. But he's had a ton of success against the Suns, and there are actual matchup reasons to believe in Luka as well. It's not just a narrative play against the Suns. Under Coach Bud, we know what type of defense the Suns are going to play. He did it the entire time he was with the Hawks and with the Bucks. He's going to run a typical drop coverage when guarding the pick and roll type of defense. They're going to stick to shooters. They're going to stick to the roll man, but they're going to drop that center on the pick and roll. It's what we talk about all the time with the current Bucks under Doc Rivers and with the Celtics as well. We target high usage, pick and roll heavy guards. It's going to be the same case with the Suns this year. It's only been 2 games, so take this data with a grain of salt. But through 2 games, the Suns have allowed the most pull-up field goal attempts in the entire NBA. They've allowed the 3rd most pull-up 2-pointers and the 6th most pull-up 3-pointers. So it's both. It's pulling up from 2 and 3-point range. That's a death sentence when you are playing Luka Doncic. It's early, but so far he's taken the most pull-up field goal attempts in the NBA. It's been one game, but in that one game, he picked up right where he left off, pulling up a ton. He also attempted the most pull-up three-pointers as well. You look at last year's data, Luka averaged literally the most points per game via the pull-up in the entire NBA. It's part of his game. He runs a ton of pick and rolls. He pulls up from deep or from two. He should go off in this one. Very confident in this play for Luka. That's play number one. Next up, we are taking Ivica Zubac, 25 plus points plus rebounds. This is plus 115 odds at DraftKings. And I should say every play, I'm only playing for a half unit today. So we're only risking 2 units total. Again, I've done this so far, but we're playing it small to begin the year. I also would appreciate it while you're watching if you could just click that subscribe button. Helps me out a ton. Even through this cold streak, if you could help me out, click that subscribe button. But backing Zubac tonight, it's another matchup play here. He has a great matchup against the Nuggets. Now, of the 2 points and rebounds, I actually like his rebounds prop the best. I'm playing the points plus rebounds, of course, but if you don't like playing these combo props for whatever reason and you just want to take one, it would be the rebounds. But I think he has a really good chance to go off in both points and rebounds in this matchup, which is why I am taking both of them. The Clippers are still missing Kawhi. Obviously, they don't have Paul George either. And this was a play last year, but in games in which Kawhi Leonard missed, we saw the usage increase a little bit for Ivica Zubac. And the Clippers, while they rounded out their depth around, hopefully they get Kawhi back, but around James Harden and Zubac, they don't have a ton of creation as well. And, the increased usage held true for at least one game so far this year. He scored 21 points in the Clippers' first game of the year, and he had 9 rebounds. Obviously, would have smoked this 25 plus points plus rebounds. He would have just hooked his rebound prop of 9.5, but he annihilated his point prop. So that's kind of why I am riding both. I like the matchup better for the rebounds. I like his role better for the points. And if you look at the last 2 years, so I guess all of last year and one game this year, without Kawhi Leonard, he has gone over 9.5 rebounds in 11 of 16 games. His over-under rebound prop is 9.5. He's gone over 13.5 points in 10 of 16 games. His point total prop is 13.5. So his role in offense without Kawhi Leonard, run a bunch of pick and rolls with James Harden, and James Harden is much more of a passer at this point in his career than he is a scorer, which is why you kind of get a lot of dump offs, a lot of roll man points for Ivica Zubac. And that's also how you target the Nuggets defense. You want to get Jokic out there guarding space. You don't want to allow him to just hang back and not need to do anything on defense. You want to have him guarding space. That's how you target Jokic. And I do think I should say this could be an assist game for James Harden as well. I'm just like taking the Zoo angle, but if you just want another lean, it would be the James Harden assist. And then from a rebounding perspective, it's a really, really good matchup for Zubac. Generally, you want to target center rebound props against teams that shoot closer to the basket. It's just physics. The closer the shot is to the basket, the closer it goes off the rim if that shot misses. A team that shoots a bunch of three-pointers, if those miss, they bounce farther. Not as good for centers. And the Nuggets, back-to-back seasons, they've lost a really important depth piece. They don't have a ton of shooting in their lineup anymore. It's Jamal Murray, who couldn't make anything last year, and it's Michael Porter Jr. And obviously this has a lot to do with Jokic and just having him on the team. Last year, the Nuggets took the 3rd most shots in the restricted area in the entire NBA. One game this year, the Nuggets have taken the most shots in the restricted area in the entire NBA. Again, shots that are closer to the basket, leave more rebound opportunities for centers. Look at that one game that the Nuggets have played this year. Chet Holmgren, who is not a huge rebound guy, collected 14 against the Nuggets. I wouldn't be surprised if Zubac did that as well while scoring 20 points. I think it's going to be a great game for Zubac, so I like getting this at plus 115 odds. That's play number 2. Next up, I'm taking Cade Cunningham, 25 plus points, plus 120 odds at Bet365. Now, one thing that I normally don't like doing is betting on players after outlier performances. Normally I do the opposite. I target players that have had a bad couple stretch of games, and then I target them. But to begin the season, we only have a 2-game sample size, so we don't know, what a player is going to be like over the course of a season. So we don't necessarily know, are we fading recent results or are they just bad? So at the beginning of the year, I'm cool with riding a player that is just on an absolute heater, especially in a plus matchup, which Cade Cunningham has been on a heater. And he does have a good matchup against the Celtics. And you wouldn't expect that because the Celtics have a very good defense. The Celtics are a funnel for point guard point props. It's not what you would expect because their defense is awesome and they have two of the best guard defenders in the NBA. It's just their style of defense and how they choose to play defense. They don't give up a lot at the rim. They stick to shooters on the outside. It's the drop coverage that I talked about in the Luka Doncic segment a couple picks ago. So what they do is they kind of allow guards that are pick and roll heavy to get tough points. Guards that are adept at running the pick and roll, they can have a lot of point opportunities against the Celtics. It's tough for them, so it's like the good ones are the ones that can take advantage of it. But that might be what we have in Cade this year. And last year, the Celtics allowed the most pull-up three-point attempts in the opportunity, the second most above-the-break three-point attempts in the NBA, and overall, they allowed the sixth most points to pick-and-roll ball handlers. So normally we like three-point props. For Cade, I kind of like taking the points instead. And you look at this year, it's been 2 games, but through 2 games, the Celtics have allowed 20 points per game to pick-and-roll ball handlers. That would have ranked as the second most last year. So it's kind of held true the way that teams have targeted them and the way that they've given up points. And you look at the games that the Celtics have played, yeah, they're 2-0 and just have smacked both opponents. They annihilated the Knicks the first game of the year, but Jalen Brunson scored 22 points in only 24 minutes. In that game, you figured normal allotment of minutes, he probably gets to 30. And then in that same game, Deuce McBride scored 22 points in 26 minutes. Very similar usage guards in how they play. Next game, Jordan Poole goes off for 26 points against the Celtics. A lot of that was in the first quarter. It still happened. And as I mentioned, Cade Cunningham has just absolutely cooked to begin the season. 28 points in the first game of the year against the Pacers. That's an easy matchup. But then in a much, much tougher matchup against the Cavaliers, who do not give up a lot of points to point guards, he scored 33 points. So through 2 games, he has scored 11 points per game as the main pick-and-roll ball handler. That would have ranked as the 4th most last year. Through 2 games this year, he scored the 2nd most points per game via drives, and he has scored 12 points per game via pull-ups. That would have ranked 2nd in the NBA last year as well. Now, these numbers won't continue over the course of a season, but while he's cooking in a plus matchup, I'm cool with taking him to get to 25 plus points. Let's hope that comes through. And now for our 4th and final pick of the video, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 8 plus assists, plus 140 odds at Fliff. You can also get this at plus 130 at FanDuel if you don't use Fliff. But the only really bets that we've won this year has been targeting assist props against teams that give up a ton of assists to point guards. And specifically the Bulls have been getting absolutely cooked from point guard assist props through 2 games. And it was the same case last year. You wanted to target point guard assist props against the Bulls. So I'm cool with relying on last year's data, and I'm cool with relying on a 2-game sample size for this year because it all tells the same story. First game of the year, DeJounte Murray, 10 assists, 18 potential assists, 13 adjusted assists. Then next game against the Bucks, Damian Lillard, 8 actual assists. We cashed that out. 19 potential assists, should have had way more than 8 actual, and he had 10 adjusted assists. So they've been a target for point guard assist props. Again, it was the case last year. So I'm cool with riding this out when we have guards like SGA, like Dame, who can run the pick and roll and he can dish it out. Last year, you look at SGA's scoring profile and his playmaking style. This is according to Courtside Pal. The Bulls allowed the 6th most assists to that style of play. It's all because of their aggressive style of defense. They don't have a lot of good plus defenders, so they're just very aggressive getting the ball out of the hands of whoever is the high usage player on that team. So generally they gave up like the fewest points per game to point guards last year, but a bunch of assists. And enter Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, one of the best guards in the NBA at driving to the hoop. Last year, he led the NBA in drives per game at 23.2. He's played 1 game this year, had exactly 23 drives in game 1. So he's at least through 1 game sticking to the same number as last year. And the next step for SGA to level up into like a super duper star, he's already an incredible scorer and he's already a good passer, but he levels up his ability to read a defense and levels up as a passer. He becomes a top 5 player in the NBA. And obviously it's way too early to make any sweeping conclusions on whether he's able to take that next step or not. But through 1 game, at least through 1 game, his pass rate on drives, his assist rate on drives, significantly higher than what it was last year. In that 1 game, sorry for my dog barking, he's really excited about these plays. Last year, through 1 game this year, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a pass rate on drives of 47.8% and an assist rate of 13% on drives. Last year, that pass rate was 38%, that assist rate was 9%. So both of those bad boys went up. Now, He probably won't keep up these passing numbers over the course of an entire season, but he should be able to continue to play like he did last game in a plus matchup against the Bulls. Last game, 8 assists, 16 potential assists, 9 adjusted assists. I could see something similar tonight, if not even more assists against an even worse defense, cashing out this bad boy for us. And that's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching. Let's have a 4-0 day as we desperately need it. We got Luka over 30.5 points. We got Zubac 25 plus points plus rebounds. Cade Cunningham 25 plus points, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 8 plus assists. We go 4-0 today. We're not quite in the green yet on the year, but we're much, much better than what we've been. So let's hope for that. I appreciate everybody for watching. Again, I appreciate everybody who has been rocking with me. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have a good one.